But this is where you'll feel the difference. Yeah, that's where you feel the difference. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing a 2023 Ford F-150 XLT, which on the surface wouldn't be all that exciting, but this one happens to have the gas 3.3 liter V6. Never reviewed it, so I'm excited to see what this engine's all about. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Kengar Ford here in American Fork, Utah for giving me some time with this truck. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 3.3 liter gas V6 that's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 290 horsepower and then 265 pound-feet of torque. Now before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see it's the normal Ford hood for the new generation, which is kind of wavy all over the place. Now we've got halogen lights with this XLT because it's a base XLT. You guys can see chrome front grille here with the Ford logo in the center, and then there's a camera just below the Ford logo. Fog lights down below, we've got parking sensors there on the chrome bumper and some tow hooks. And putting it all together in red, it's a pretty good looking truck. Come around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 265, 70, 17 on the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see with the wheel design, got silver, you got 6 spokes, pretty simple. You got this cool cut in the fender, which is just like an F-150 hallmark. You got your F-150 XLT badge, and then notice the coloration of the mirrors matches the door handles. Well, it looks like we don't have leaf springs, but rather leaf spring? And then taking a look at the full side profile here of the truck, I think it looks pretty sweet. So here's our key fob. We have our lock function or unlock function, remote start, the flip out key function as well, and Ford logo there on the back. Now popping the tailgate down, it's not dampened, so you do have to like lower it down with your arm. I know, so difficult. Anyways, we have a payload capacity of 1,622 pounds with this truck, and there's not really much else to go over with the bed. It's like 5.5 feet long, and it's a truck bed, and when you're done, you lift this thing up. Now you guys can see we've got the baseline taillights here for the F-150, and then we've got all of our regular logos here, parking sensors at the bottom, and then towing capacity, well, max towing capacity with this powertrain is just over 8,000 pounds, but with how this one's set up, I'm sure it's just slightly less than that. And putting it all together, you know, the base XLT actually doesn't look too bad. It's just your normal, you know, chrome silver wheel pickup truck. Now taking a look at the door panel here, it's actually pretty nice. We got some padding here and then also down below. Got our window control here for the rear, and then look at that darker trim, and then tons of storage on the door panel. Pretty cool design here on these seats, definitely retro looking, that is for sure. And then underneath you guys can see some storage, and there's kind of a full look. Legroom here in the back because this is a Super Cruise, fantastic. Got a little storage pocket here, and then you guys can see the charging ports down below. And then headroom back here is also great. Now with the front door panel, it's just like the back where you've got some padding here and then also down below. All of our window controls, which front two are actually automatic. You got your mirror adjustments, door lock and unlock, and then more of that dark trim. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, and again, tons of storage space on the door panel. Pretty cool design here on the seat, as you can see, just like the back one. And then notice it's partially power adjustable, partially manually adjustable. Got our parking brake right here, and then you guys can see here with the light control, and then the steering wheel is manually adjustable. So taking a look at the steering wheel, you guys can see really nice padding all around, and you got stitching on the center portion, some controls for the center stack, phone controls, radio controls, volume controls there on the other side with our adaptive cruise control on top of that. And then we have our turn signal windshield wiper stalk, and then we actually have a good old-fashioned column shifter here with a manual shift function there on the side. Now taking a look at the gauge cluster itself, you guys can see mostly analog there on either side, well, fully analog. And here in the center, we've got a screen which we can use to scroll through some different menus, and just like other F-150s, you can scroll through some different drive modes. Main stuff is gonna be like your tow haul mode, your sport mode for your sporty driving with your little naturally aspirated V6, and then you got some off-road / inclement driving modes. And now this XLT is equipped with the 360 camera system, so you've got camera views out of literally everywhere with the truck on the smaller screen, which is the first time I've ever seen that. But it's a good camera system, resolution's good, and it's cool. Now up above the screen, you guys can see for the auto stop start, the camera system to pop that on, parking sensors, hazard lights, stability control, and we'll actually press that camera button. So you guys can see we've got like a full view for example of the front and then on the top. Anyways, as for the screen itself, we have a shortcut bar there at the bottom, and response time with the screen is great, so no complaints there. Analog radio controls just down below, and then you can see we've got our Pro Trailer Assist backup setup, and then we got our trailer brake controls, and then our drive line select. Notice no four-wheel auto, but we do have four-wheel high and four-wheel low, and then your drive mode select is just by twisting that. And then this actually has dual zone climate, and then lots of charging port action throughout, and some extra storage space down below. Now here is our bench seat center console thing, so storage here on the top with some cup holders, and then it also lifts up to be a seat, and there is even more storage, if I can lift it up, underneath the seat. Now this has the double glove box, which I feel like every single pickup truck nowadays has, and then on the dash it's hard touch, but at least it looks cool. And then up top we got the sunglass holder, and then just fixed rear glass. So here's a quick look at the window sticker for this F-150. You guys can see it's a 301A equipment group. But anyways, after all options, this one stickers for $53,765. And let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood, both the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear, and we'll actually put this up. But let's set off, but we're actually going to reverse out because, well, don't have a lot of, actually, I might have to, man, I guess we're seeing the truck's maneuverability, that's for sure. Oh yeah, there's no way. I'm like, maybe I can make it. Nope. Turns just a little bit too tight. I'm gonna get made fun of by someone that like drives semi trucks for a living. They're gonna be like, Ben, I've made that turn with an 18-wheeler and a 50-foot trailer, one try, but you know what? I'm not you. Anyways, there we go. Actually setting off here in this F-150. This is the first time, like I said, I've ever driven an F-150 with the gas 3.3. I have driven a Transit with this engine before, but I feel like there's a pretty big difference between an F-150 and a Transit in terms of, you know, how they drive, and then obviously size and all of that. But first off, something to say about the XLT is I just drove a Platinum earlier today, and this is slightly less comfortable than the Platinum in terms of the ride quality. It's still solid, but it's not as good, so it's kind of interesting that I can actually perceive a difference driving them back to back, but I'm sure that if I didn't drive them back to back, the difference wouldn't be nearly as noticeable. Love the steering on new F-150s. I think it's really solid. Yeah, so smooth. Suspension smooth. Everything's smooth with this truck. Yeah, I gotta like thread the needle through this parking lot sometimes, let me tell you. Lots of cars here. So far on the low end though, I wanted to show the driving through the parking lot. You know, you don't really notice the difference between this and like the EcoBoost per se, but getting up and moving, I'm sure that that's where it's gonna. Wow, I'm actually really impressed. So the 10-speed's super smooth. Makes this engine feel a lot more powerful than it actually is. Shocking. So, pretty good so far. Honestly, if you put someone in this and then someone in the 2.7 V6, get my engines mixed up in my head, I don't think they'd be able to feel the difference at this point, but this is where you'll feel the difference. Yeah, that's where you feel the difference. Once you really get into it, then you're like, okay, this thing doesn't have a turbo, it's not exactly the quickest, but man, on the low end, this thing's impressive. Like if you're just kind of like, you know, just casually driving through town, this powertrain's really good. I'm impressed. I like this more than Ram's V6, to be honest. First off, base model XLT. I think it looks pretty good on the outside. Interior's pretty cool, especially the seats. They're pretty quirky, that is for sure. Drives really well. And this V6 is great at low speeds. But you know, once you get on it, that's where you don't feel the power. With that being said though, I think there's a reason why nobody orders this powertrain, because like the 2.7 is not that much more expensive and it's a much better powertrain. So I think the only reason why you go for this is if you're really, really concerned about like super long-term reliability. But I mean, the 2.7's still been shown to be pretty reliable. So yeah, let me know what you think about this, but I'm impressed. I think that, as you know, for what this is, a naturally aspirated V6 pickup truck, I like it. I think this is my favorite. Like I said, I like this engine more than Ram's. It just feels, the engine transmission combo just feels quite a bit stronger. So that's gonna sum things up with our video on this F-150. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Kengar Ford here in American Fork for giving me some time with this truck. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see you.